Joker was directed by Todd Phillips and released on the 4th of October in the United States this year. I knew this movie would be good the moment I heard that Todd Phillips would direct it. He made a few of my favorite movies of all time. I was pretty hyped to see this movie, not just because of the good reviews, because for those of you who watch this video of me, know what I'm talking about. I also have to apologize for this review coming so late, but I wanted to see Joker a second time before I make my review, and was also pretty busy last week. Anyways, no more excuses, let's move on to the movie. The movie starts with Arthur putting on his makeup and forcing himself to smile. He then is in his clown outfit and dances on the street and gets his sign stolen by some random kids. He then follows them and gets beaten up in an alley. Then we come to him trying to cry, but all he does is laugh in front of his therapist. She then asks for his journal and he said he also used it as a joke diary, and we see his joke, "I just hope my death makes more sense than my life." Then we come to the bus scene and we find out that he has a disease by which he can't control his laughter. We then see him walking home all depressed, and we find out that he still lives with his mom. They then watch the Murray show and Arthur dreams about him being there and Murray getting him on stage and telling him how much he liked what he just told him about his mother and all. We then move on to his job and he gets a gun from one of his colleagues, and one of my favorite scenes comes, which was his boss telling him that he has to get the sign back and yelling at him, and all we see is Arthur smiling at him. I just love that scene. He then releases his anger at the trash in an alley. We then see him in his building and we see Zazie Beetz characters for the first time in the elevator, and they have a little eye contact. Back in Arthur's apartment, we see Arthur washing his mom in the bath, and she said something which broke my heart, which was, "Don't you have to be funny to be a comedian?" He then shoots at the wall. We then see him following Zazie's character and stalking her. Then we come to the stand-up show, where we see Arthur writing things down that other comedians joke about, and he always laughs at moments you're not supposed to, showing that he doesn't really know what's funny and what's not. Then we come to the hospital scene where Arthur is a clown and accidentally loses his gun, which was hilarious. He then loses his job, and we move on to the train scene where he gets beat up by some drunk man, and he kills all three of them by shooting them. I remember that the first gunshot scared the shit out of me in the theater. I didn't expect it. Then we come to the bathroom scene, which was just beautiful and literally pure art. So amazingly done. I can't believe that Phoenix improvised all of that. Then we move on to his past job, where he takes his stuff and leaves and punches out, which gets me every time. Then he goes to his therapist, who told him that it's the last time they meet, which means he can't get his medications anymore. Then we move on to Arthur doing his first stand-up and not being able to because of his disease. After the show, we see him and Sophie going out to talk and eat. Arthur then goes home and dances with his mom. He then reads his mother's letter, which he wrote for Thomas Wayne, and finds out that Thomas Wayne may be his father. Arthur then decides to go to the Wayne house and meets Bruce and forces him a smile on his face. But Alfred comes and says that his mother lied to him. He then attacks him and runs away. When he comes home, he sees that the ambulance is there because his mother had a stroke. Two detectives come up to him to question him, but he leaves and pumps into the door because it was exit only. In the hospital, Arthur sees Murray on TV and sees that they showed a clip of him in the stand-up club, humiliating him. Next morning on the TV, it turned out that there is the demonstration with people dressed as clowns, and Arthur decides to go there and manages to go into the theater and talks to Thomas Wayne on the toilet. And one of my favorite scenes comes with Arthur raging and asking Thomas why everybody is so mean to him, and that was such an amazing acting from Phoenix. I loved that scene. Thomas then tells him that his mother adopted him and is crazy. He then starts laughing uncontrollably and he punches Arthur in the face. We move on to his apartment, where Arthur crawls into his fridge. The next morning he gets a call from the show booker from the Murray Franklin show, and she asks him if he would come as a guest, and he says yes. We then move on to the Arkham State Hospital, where Arthur tries to find out if he really is adopted. He then steals the records and runs down the stairs and finds out that he is indeed adopted, and that everything Thomas Wayne said was true. That was really a sad scene, and the last bit Arthur needed to go completely insane. Because then we move on to Arthur going inside the apartment, and it turned out it was Sophie's, and everything we saw of them together was all just an imagination. An amazing, unexpected, great scene. He then goes to his apartment and tries to cry, but all he does is laugh. Then we move on to the hospital, and he says to his mother that he used to think that his life was a tragedy, but now realized that it's a fucking comedy. A great quote. He then suffocates his mother with a pillow. Back in his apartment, he practices his entry to the Murray show, and how he wants to kill himself on live TV. He then transforms into the Joker, he puts on his makeup and dyes his hair green, but gets interrupted by his two former colleagues, Wendell and Gary. He says that he celebrates because his mom died, which had me weak. He then kills Wendell with a scissor in a brutal way, and lets Gary go because he was the only one who was always nice to him. But he couldn't reach the lock, which was hilarious. Such an amazing scene. We don't see Arthur the first time as the actual Joker. The music was so fitting, and him dancing down the stairs was one of the best scenes of this year. The first time he was truly happy. He then gets chased by the two detectives, but manages to escape by taking the subway because it was full of clowns who beat up the two detectives. Then we come to the absolute best scene of the movie. Arthur tells Murray to introduce him as the Joker, and he dances his way onto the show. I like how he changed his mind on killing himself literally the moment he sat there, because he realized Murray was just making fun of him. He then argues with Murray and admits to killing the three guys on the subway, and he said that he found it funny. And the other thing he said was that if he would be him on the streets, people would walk right over him. I love that quote. Then he says, how about another joke, Murray? What do you get when you cause a mentally ill loner with a society that abandons him and treats him like trash? I'm telling you what you get what you fucking deserve. He then shoots Murray in the face. We then see him in a police car and smiling at the chaos he created in Gotham. An ambulance then crashes into the police car, and the clowns take out Arthur and put him on the car. He then gets up and puts his blood into a smile, which is one of the greatest shots I've seen in a movie. We then see a clown shooting Thomas and Martha Wayne, which had me shocked. I didn't expect that. Then we move on to Arkham Asylum, where Arthur laughs at the therapist and she asks what's so funny, and he says she wouldn't get a joke. He then kills him, and we see his bloody footprints as he's walking out of the room. And that was it for the movie. I hope I didn't forget something important. Anyways, let's move on to the actors. Joaquin Phoenix was obviously the best part of this movie. He did one of the greatest acting performances I've ever seen. I swear, if he doesn't get an Oscar, I will be mad. I would say that he was just as good as Heath Ledger. Rest in peace, legend. Zazie Beetz was also great. I just knew her from Deadpool 2 as Domino, but yeah, she was great. Robert De Niro was amazing as Murray, but we all know he's a great actor. Frances Conroy was also great as Penny Fleck, but I have to say, every time I see her, I just see Barney's mom from How I Met Your Mother. Brad Cullen was also good as Thomas Wayne, and the soundtrack was one of the best parts of this movie. It was so amazing, and it fits so well with the movie. So, with all this being said, this movie was a straight up masterpiece. I literally can't say something bad about it. I enjoyed every single second of this movie. The story, the visuals, the acting, everything was amazing. You know a movie is good when you can't stop thinking about it. So I'm giving this movie a 10 out of 10. Even though I don't really need a sequel to this movie, I would still watch it. But I would love more Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, so I wouldn't be mad. So let me know what you thought of this movie. I hope everyone has seen it by now, because everyone should see this masterpiece. And yeah, that was my review for the Joker. Next movie I'm going to watch is Zombieland 2. I cannot wait for that one. I waited so long for that sequel, so stay tuned for that review. Anyways, that was it. Roll the outro.